Make sure I have the right drink. Woo! Good evening. Welcome to Sports Cards Daily Live. It is September 2nd. I'm not keeping track of these numbers. It's Thursday, so that means it's the fourth night in the row. We've got a live guest coming on tonight. Super excited about this. You know what I'm liking about the show? I'm liking the format. I'm liking getting new faces on YouTube, sharing with the community, growing the community out with new people. So really hope you guys are enjoying this as well. Keep sharing, liking, commenting. You know, if you want to be on the show, let me know. If you got somebody else, recommend them the show. We want to get as many people as we can. And then I'll start, bringing other people back on. You'll probably start seeing people repeat just because as people drop, I have to fill spots. So always really super excited to have people on. First, John, great to have you. Nostradamus, Ryan, what's up? Breakout Cards is in the house. Guys, great to have you. So I'll start. My guest is not in the room yet. Let me just make sure that, let me check him on IG and make sure that he has the information. I'm live now. Join in a few minutes, please. Okay. We got that going there. I'm going to go over here to this boom bam. Okay, so here's where I'm going to start. I want to go back and share. We do a little bit of hobby news and things that I learned today or things that I thought were kind of cool. I see you there, sir. Thank you for being there, Loco Cards. Hang in there, man. Let me go here and share my screen. I want to share. I'm terrible at this. I admit it. Check this out. Spot the difference. This is on the new Topps Chrome, I don't know, wwws. And I tell you what, man, I spent a lot of time examining these cards going. Like I start looking here and I start scrolling down. I'll be honest. This LSC area distracted me. I spent a lot of time trying to look for some differences there. I spent a lot of time in this area. This thigh, I was like, is this a misprint? Like, is there a dimple there on the card? I don't know. Just spending too much time here. And then I get here and I go, what am I looking for again? And then I'd start back at the top. I'm looking for differences. And then I get over here. And you should be able to spot the differences pretty easily. But I never had so much fun playing the spot the differences game on a card as I had with the Topps Chrome SmackDown Sasha Banks cards. Oh, it's the boot right here. See the yellow, no yellow. Right there. Clearly, they're making you pay attention to this area. Darkness, no, not as much darkness. And then here the glasses are the three things. I just thought this was brilliant, Topps. Brilliant marketing. Spot the difference. You got my attention. Man, tweet. Next up in the news, this was a pretty interesting article about the secondary impact of the secondary market with Fanatics, right? I'm not going to read this to you. I don't do that. I'm a slow reader as it is, and I have to read things twice myself. But what I took away from this is they're discussing how Fanatics revolutionized the market and how Fanatics is likely going to do that with sports cards in the future. They're probably not going to maintain the same archaic distribution system that was there in the past. If they want to reach the numbers and growth that they want, they're going to have to be efficient by doing it. But it shows kind of the economies of scale and how they're able to do it. Like it talks a little bit about some of their other storefronts. I can't remember where it is here, but anyway, very, very good article about secondary market plans and how people will, a lot of people made money in the kind of the stacking of the channel, right? Fanatics is going to clean that up, I think, which again, people are like, well, what about people with allocations? Well, I think this is actually a good thing for the hobby. Because again, I think there'll be more money in the hobby for people will actually go to who? The athletes and the people put this stuff together. This was an interesting story here. Let me touch on this yesterday, but it does sound like Cleveland's back on the list for shows for the National. Now, here's what I just want to stress here, guys. This is, again, further proof that the people who run the National have no interest at all in moving it out of those three locations between Chicago, Cleveland, and Atlantic City. I'm just telling you that. And I understand why. I'm not going to fight them on it. That is the way it is. It's fine to keep doing it that way. What I am suggesting is that somebody needs to organize a regional or another large event, not just Dallas every 2 months. That's going to bore the hell out of me, right? Sorry, Dallas. We need to do something regional. Every 2 months, one city is the place to be. That is the way to do it. And in order to make that happen, you need a manufacturer or a big sponsor to anchor that, right? eBay is going to support a road trip of 6 cities in 12 months, right? With Sports Card Investor. Are you guys listening to me, Sports Card Investor? Right? That's the way to do this. Card Ladder, I don't give a shit. Card Ladder and somebody else is together. They sponsor 6 cities, and they sit 6 anchor cities, and that's the way to do that, to get that show, in my opinion, to really grow the hobby. Maybe I should talk to somebody about that. Why don't we just make that happen, Ziggy? Why don't we make that happen? Anybody in the chat think about this? You know, I feel like I'm an idea man and a do nothing man sometimes. Just when it comes to sports cards, I promise. I want to bring attention here. I did talk about this article 2 nights ago. The scarce 78 7-Eleven Magic Motion cards. I did talk about this because I remember these, not the 78, but I remember these cards. Like, these are damn cool because look how sketchy they were, right? I mean, these were hard to find or collect. And 78, I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. 78. Like, who was born in 78 or even around that time? Anyway, I want to bring attention to one of our viewers and one of the guys I like to listen to on Because I'm Carlos. This is written by Bobby Burrell. So shout out to Bobby, man. I don't mean to, if I see your name, I know you write a lot of stuff. I love to call attention to it, but also do me a favor. When you're doing that and you're having stuff that's being authored, let me know. Feel free to do some self-advertising. Ziggy, I just published this. Ziggy, I'm going to do this. Ziggy, I did that. Any of you guys out there, do some self-promoting. Let me know. I don't care. I'm happy to help promote other people in the hobby. That's one of the things I really, really want to do on this channel. Whew. Okay, I don't think there's anything else there to share. A couple of videos, and then we're going to go to my guests. So hang in there just another minute or two. Watch the hobby hotlines happening tonight. It's actually, I think, still going on. There's this report that's running around there about verified market research saying there's 100 billion, that's a B, 100 billion, that's a B, $100 billion market in sports cards by 2027. I need to see that report. I mean, Ziggy knows going to do a report. I'll make it free when I do it too, by the way. But that just blows my mind. That blows my mind. Other things in here, there's a little conversation here about, well, there's some of the art. This freaking card sold for a ridiculous amount of money. It's the highest. That card sold for more money than any card of that class of Prism 20. It sold more than the Mellow Ball has right now. Now, I'm sure Mellow Ball might sell for more in the future, but that's still crazy. Here's a little session here about eBay and their investments in sports cards. I'm telling you, keep an eye on eBay. I think Glorious Piece said keep an eye on Fanatics and CSG. Any other news noteworthy stuff here? I don't recall. A lot of it's good. Don't get me wrong, but stuff that I want to bring your attention. They talk about the Panini. They talk about here about, where is it? Maybe I missed it. About what Panini's empire is. Panini's big. Panini's global. I'm not worried about Panini. Oh, they talk about Topps' bad debt. Dude, Topps, in my opinion, is just trash company, man. And I don't mean that in the wrong way. It's sad to say that. I love Topps, and I like some people over Topps, but they are probably in the worst position. They are a dumpster fire. They are desperate need of someone buying them. They concern me. The NFTs concern me. Their death clause concerns me. The way they run their NFTs concerns me. I'm just very, I need to think about Topps a little more when I press the buy button with my dollars. Topps is best being bought by Fanatics. That'd be the best thing that could happen for Topps is to be bought. Anyway, I'm talking too long. Okay. Boom. Good video tonight here about TGT, who was on earlier this week. Not going to spend that. I just want to share this one moment. I follow Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze. They had Lou on. Here's something I didn't realize. This gentleman right here, Andrew, which I'm a big fan of, by the way, I didn't realize he used to work with Gary Vee and Gary Vee's group. And, Lou works with Gary Vee's group. So, again, just makes you think about this power of influence that Gary Vee has had in the hobby. He's definitely spawned on huge, like if you think about like the quarterback tree or the coaching tree, Gary Vee's hobby tree is a big tree. And if you look at the people who he's influenced, man, it's massive. Massive. It might be bigger than I thought. I underestimated that tree. Okay, that's it, guys. I'm going to go ahead here, pop out of this. I'm going to go back here to the chat. I'm asking you guys to stick around. We're going to do Q&A at the end. I'm going to go ahead here and welcome on Loco Card Collector.
What is up, Ziggy?
How are you doing, sir?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I did. Excellent. For the last 10 minutes.
Excellent, man. So tell me where you are and tell me a little bit about yourself, like where you're located. You don't have to give specifics, but
sure.
Where are you? And I see you're a Mets fan, so tell us about the Mets.
It's a Yankees jersey. I got it in New York. It's a Mickey Mantle jersey. But I'm actually in the Bay Area, so San Francisco Bay Area.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But I'm from LA, so I do not like the 49ers and I do not like the Giants. I hate them both. I'm a Dodger fan and a Raider fan. And the Warriors are fine. I have nothing against the Warriors. So that's kind of my sports background. But I've been in the Bay Area for most of my adult life. I grew up in LA and I came out here to go to college. And I pretty much
What part of the Bay? Are you north, east?
East of San Francisco. Near Central Valley. It's more Central Valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
I lived in San Ramon for a couple months. And then I was in San Jose for about half a year or whatever. So I know the area, I have friends and family. Love the area. Love your climate, man. It's beautiful.
Oh, man.
And I also think it's interesting how Northern California is like a whole different state to Southern California, man. That's a totally different world.
It is.
It really is.
It is. Well, even Central California is different from the Bay Area.
I've heard that too. Yep.
Yeah. The I don't know, whatever the political climate, whatever you want to, however you want to talk about it. But yeah, it's like two different states.
Yeah,
so
it is. It's beautiful though. It's a beautiful state. You have so many beautiful microclimates. Your scenery. You have a lot of wonderful sport teams out there. So I admire that, man. So tell me, what are you into collecting? And tell me a little bit about local cards.
Yeah, so I collect the baseball, basketball, and football. Those are the three main sports, and that's those are the three sports that I've followed my whole life. I actually played a little bit of high school football, so that was my interest in football. But we come from a baseball family. My dad was a big baseball guy, a big baseball fan, and my brother played college and even independent baseball. So
sweet.
That's the baseball side of it. And my personal favorite sport is basketball. That's the sport that I played, just street ball. So I'm a decent, even still today, I'm still okay.
That's cool. I don't underestimate anybody in basketball. That's the thing is you can go out to a pickup game and see a guy and be like, oh, he can't be very good. And he can be lights out shooter or mad crazy defender. And you're like, this is freaking crazy.
Yeah. I probably have the ugliest shot known to man. If you ever see a video of my shot, you would never pass me the ball to shoot. So it's hard to get the ball in a game, but I can shoot.
That's awesome though. It's so awesome, man. So does that keep you involved in the hobby then, as being active in sports as well? Is that what
No, I know it's weird. So and it's I have kind of a funny story about that. I played in a rec league, basketball league for 10 years with another baseball card collector. This guy has vintage 50s, 60s, huge collection that he goes to shows. And we never knew that about each other. For 10 whole years, we didn't know that we collected cards.
That's cool.
Because I kind of took a I don't know, probably a 10-year hiatus from the hobby. So no, my interest in sports, it didn't keep me in cards. What got me back into it was Vegas Dave's article, or the article that he sold Mike Trout for $4 million. That got me looking at my old collection. And
really?
That was a year ago.
Yeah. Say it was a year ago in August that took place.
And I got hooked. I mean, I really got hooked. I couldn't believe the way the prices were going up. I sent some cards in for grading, and then I got into watching a lot of YouTube content. And now I got my brother involved. My brother I created a monster. He's probably more involved than I am now.
Well, it's funny. Let me go back to your comment about your friend and both of you not knowing about being in sports cards. It's kind of like, because it really wasn't hip to be in sports cards. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's kind of like, we didn't go around going, hey, man, are you a Star Trek member? No one did that. Right? We kept that quiet. But I will say, even in my world, I'm in a enterprise business. We'll be talking sports, right? And I will casually ask people I'm with, hey, are you guys into sports cards or sports memorabilia? And I get more yeses than I used to get. And a lot of people too, but I also realize a lot of them just buy it for the memorabilia. They don't care if they spend $500 on a card because it's an investment. They buy it because it's cool for their freaking office. But I had one friend of mine who had this really cool Bryce Harper card that was autographed that he way overpaid for, but he didn't care. He just loved the freaking plaque, loved the card. So I do think there's more of that crossover going on now in that community. You mentioned you got into it by watching a year ago with Vegas Dave. He's an interesting person as well. A lot of people he's polarizing. A lot of people either love him or hate him, but he has had a major impact, because you're right. If you look back before last year, it'd be some smart person out there needs to do this. How many $1 million deals were going on in sports cards before he sold that card last year? there were a few. But since then, there's got to be more than there's probably ever been in the history of sports cards.
Yeah.
In the last 12 months.
So.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And again, I applaud him. I also think he's correct on some of his I think he's a little too negative on the apocalypse, but I do think he's right on there's just too much overprinting, too much hype right now that there will be a correction in the future. So who else do you like to follow on the YouTube there?
So I started watching Jeff Wilson. That was the first content creator that I really followed, and I watched all of his videos going back to his very first one. And that was kind of how I educated myself, because I really had no clue how much the hobby had changed. I collected in the late 80s, early 90s.
Me too.
And then I briefly got back into it in 08, 09, or I should say 07, 08. So I stopped 09. I didn't get the Steph Curry rookie card. And then after about 08, I just had no interest anymore. I think I was discouraged by, the fact that cards just seem to go down. I could buy a box of cards, open them up, they're worth something, and then they're worth less a year later or 5 years later.
Well, amen. Let me just say that has always been the history of this business, right? It was that there was a depreciating asset. Some of the few assets would appreciate in value over time, but for the most part, most of them would go down. How did you feel the first time you saw the autograph or an autograph rookie or autograph patch card? Like, was that kind of mind blowing? To me, that blew my mind in a pack. I was not expecting.
No, I probably would have gotten hooked again. Like I said, if the values didn't go down so much, I just couldn't see buying more boxes, paying more money for a depreciating asset. But the cards themselves were super cool, and I regret selling the hitters that I got. I got a Jordan. It wasn't an autograph, but it was a patch card, and it was Larry Bird and Dr. J and Jordan, and it was serial number 23 out of 100. And I put it on eBay, and there were so many people, probably all from Chicago, I'm sure, wanting that card. And this was back in 2010, so really down, in terms of where the market was. I wish I had that card. I have no idea what it would be worth today, but it was a definitely desirable card back then.
No, it's true. It's again, I understand. People realize, like, I started back in 2015, 16, 17. I sold cards then that, again, I was very happy with the profit, because that was setting records then. No one was paying money for base cards, right? Like, I remember selling Giannis cards for $50 to $100. I'm like, really? It's just a base prism. They're like, yeah, man, I'll give you $100. Okay. I got two. Do you want two of them?
Yeah.
That was the time. I remember giving away to friends. Like, I did a lot of Bowman of the mega boxes. I remember giving away Acunas and Otanis to friends to help them complete their sets.
Oh, man. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because if they were set collectors, I'm like, oh, it's for your set? Yeah, man, it's for my set. Okay, here, you just hook me up later on. I know I was giving them a major card. I didn't know it was that major of a card. I knew it was one of the more prized cards, right? Because even then they were going for around $20 or $30 a piece. But still, they were still base cards, man. They were base mojo or whatever. But it's crazy how
that was what I couldn't believe, because I thought I had in my mind, I had a lot of worthless base cards in my brother's shed. That's where they were stored. And I had 6 Kobe Bryant Fleer, the 96 Fleer rookies, which in my mind, they were worth about $5 at the most. And I looked up the PSA 10 prices a year ago, and I saw that they were going for about $600. And I kept them, in a team bag, in a top loader. I mean, they were nice. I was like, these are gradable cards. I was blown away that this cheap $5 base card could potentially be worth $600 if it grades a PSA 10. I had a Kevin Durant Topps Chrome. I bought it at a quarter bin in 2013. It was second year, 2008 Topps Chrome. And I saw that was going on eBay for about $40, and I ended up selling it for $90 when it really spiked up. Again, it was a 25-cent card. I bought it because, it's Kevin Durant. He's a good player, and I just want to have it in my collection. But I was just blown away by some of the prices on these base cards.
Well, say the orange Topps KD cards used to come in a pack that was sold in retail, and that was the card on the front. Right? Like, you saw that card as like, get a rookie card of Star KD, and you got some other junk. It was like a repack product. but that was very common. Like all my kids had one. We had 4 of those at one time. And I'm like,
Oh,
now
man.
they're worth tons of money. So it's just bizarre how times have changed, So after a year of doing this, what lessons learned that you would like to tell yourself a year ago?
Yeah, well, I luckily I didn't fall into too many traps, mostly
Good.
because I didn't have a big budget to spend during some of the peaks. But I did buy a lot of raw cards in January and February, which I way overpaid for. So that was, and they were just base raw cards. And here I am, and in my mind, I knew, I was like, no, these can't be worth as much as they're going for right now on eBay. But that's what they were selling for. So I got caught up in the hype. But thank goodness I didn't buy the PSA 10 version of those cards, because I would have paid, in some cases 10 times the price of the raw card. So I didn't take as much of a hit. The other thing was a lot of my cards, like I had a Penny Hardaway, I forgot, stars that weren't really, like Tracy McGrady, not the GOATs, right? But good players that people remember. I had a lot of those, and they were going for crazy amounts, PSA 9, PSA 10 prices. So I'm like, I'm going to send them off to PSA, and I'm going to send them at $65 a card. That was the regular or express, whatever the $65 level was.
Yep.
And I sent those in February. I got them back in May. By the time I got them back, they had lost at least, probably 75% of their value. I mean, my friends were like, why did you grade these cards? I was like, well, this Penny Hardaway Topps was going for over $100 when I sent it in February.
Did you sell them, or what'd you do with them now?
I sold a few. I actually set up at a card show as a dealer for the very first time in my life.
Yep.
So I was able to sell a few of those, probably at, a loss. And then I still have most of them.
Now, how do you normally sell? You mentioned this is the first time you did a dealer. How do you normally sell cards?
Oh, eBay. So eBay was always how I sold cards, like, especially back in 08 through 2012 when I had it, when I had good cards that I could sell. And, back then maybe there were times that I needed money. I never sold because it was never a business for me. Like, oh, okay, this card has gone up 2x, so I'm going to sell and take the profit. It was more, hey, I got some bills to pay, and I got this nice Jordan. Let's see who'll give me the most money for it. I gotta sell it no matter what. And now it's more of, I'm buying these thinking, oh, okay, they might appreciate, I might be able to sell it and I might make a profit. But I'm watching a lot of content closely to see, because I've watched many of your videos, and I know that there's a lot of caution to be had. And so that's what I'm paying attention to.
I'll say, as skeptical as I am, I know that there's a lot of opportunity for people to make money. My best advice is, I think this is still a patient man's game. Mm-hmm. I think it's patience and knowledge are very important, right? Like, I think if you have the patience to wait time and certain things, like right now, I think football is going to be a fun year because of the class, because of the season, 17 weeks, records will be set, rookie records will be set. If people stay healthy, there's going to be a lot of money in football. Now, I still think there's going to be some hesitation because I think the prices are too high on the products. But I'm also selective. Like right now, as many football products are out, I wouldn't buy any of them. I'm still waiting. I think the first one that I'll probably buy is probably going to be, I want to say Prism, but maybe I'll touch Mosaic. I don't know. I hesitate on Mosaic. Right? I look at Mosaic, it's the second-year product. I don't think last year's Mosaic are holding the value as much as people think. I know it'll be sexy, though. Those are some really pretty cards. But I would hold out for, like, I'll even focus my budget on Prism. Contenders, in my opinion, will be a great product this year. Contenders is a rich autograph product. And with this many quarterbacks in it, man, oh, my gosh. Like, I really want to pre-order some Contenders if I can. Oh.
Yeah. Do you still do a lot of breaks? Or I noticed in some of your videos you mentioned that you used to get into breaks.
I used to be in breaks all the time. I consider myself very, very good at breaking. Like, I think I know all the tricks and tips for doing it, but I have not been active in breaks this year at all. I've been in a few from time to time, and I will get more involved with football season, but I'm going to break with the breakers that I know, right? That I know well, that have allocated products. I'll be patient there. I'm not just going to go to the first filler that's up that some guy posts on retail breaks. I'm also skeptical of retail product. Like, I would not grade any cards that aren't numbered or really short printed. Like I'm not going to be grading silver prisms of players probably this year because I'm not going to be racing to grade. It depends. We'll see how things go.
So you think even the silvers are overprinted as well?
Well, everything's definitely overprinted, but in relative, they're not as much. I'm just saying I'm not going to race to grade a silver prism because, for example, do I want to spend $300 to? And I have to maybe look at the market. We don't know yet, but let's assume that Trey Lance comes out. How much will his silver prism PSA 910 be? What's the quality of the card look like? How many are grading? I'm not going to be the first to rush to that market. I know people who do that.
Yeah.
Right. I'll be patient and wait. If I were like, for example, I got a LaMelo Ball silver prism that I thought about grading. I'm like, no, I have no rush to grade that card because I do want it long term, like years probably. So I will wait and I'll submit it later on and it'll get graded and eventually it'll be in the collection. But I'm not in a race to grade it. So if I got a good silver prism quarterback this year, I'd probably hold it. If I got a good quarterback in other products, I'd probably sell it raw immediately. Like I might tinker with some Donruss football because I'm like a crackhead because I love Donruss football. I mean, it's the same. It's got the rated rookies. It's got some really good inserts this year, so that I might play with that.
Yeah, that's the other lesson I learned too. Even at $65 a card, which I guess by today's standards is not really that expensive, but it was still a lot. You know, it wasn't a loss. I actually did okay on that order, but not nearly as well as I would have if they were the February prices held.
Yeah.
So it was just unfortunate to see that. And then I got another order back after that, and I actually lost on that one. I paid $100 per card for just an 11 card order. So I kind of learned my lesson there. I'm happy to. I've been grading with HGA, and I just use their lowest level, $20, 60 days. I'm not going to rush it. You know, even $50 is not a bad price to rush the card back, but I don't know what those cards are. The resale value, they're all over the place. So I'm just happy to grade good cards at a low price, and then we'll see what the market's like when I get them back.
Well, what I recommend, and this is what I used to do until PSA closed in March, was I was grading probably between 10 to 20 cards a month through my subber. And what I was doing was I would send them a couple hundred cards that were wiped and everything. And then I just say to him, hey, man, every month drop a few in, 10 to 20 based on what my budget was. So what that did for me is then every month I was getting back graded cards as they started popping. So if you're doing an HGA or you find a CS and you find a system of grading and you've got a good margin on whatever it is, think about breaking that out to where you do 10 or 20 or 25 every month for 6 months so that you have this continuous stream coming back. And that's again, it's a patient move, right? Don't just race to submit 100 cards and get them all graded and then get hit by the grading bill and then you're rushed to sell them and you're chasing, chasing it. Do 10, talk. In fact, like I said, I talked to my subber and said, look, dude, and this is over a year ago when I did this. I got him to agree to the rate. So I got a great rate and I paid him per month as I went, right? So I didn't have to pay it all at once. I paid as I wanted to. So again, there's a lot of creative ways you can do it with patience. You can do really well. Are you into breaking? Will you be breaking any football or anything? Or
I've never done a break in my life. Don't start.
Don't start.
Don't start. I thought about getting in on one on Star Stock because I saw they started breaking, but I haven't really gotten around to it yet, so maybe I won't. Maybe I'll take your advice on this one.
It's funny. I've thought about doing Star Stock too. I like their breaks. Dude, breaking is crack. It's so damn addictive. It really is.
Well, I listened. I don't know if it was a podcast that you did or if it must have been a YouTube video. But you did say that you can do well. There's a way where if you buy into enough different breaks and there's a strategy where it's not really so much like all or nothing.
Yes, there is. Now what's changed is the prices have gone up. So, and that strategy is simply only buy certain products. You cannot go chasing every freaking product. So for example, I'd only break Prism, Contenders, Optic. And National Treasures is really a dangerous one to break. It can kill you. But I'd say with those three, select a little bit. And not even knock select out with the retail stuff. I'd still go with Prism. Contenders is really good in football, right? Optic, another one. And what you do is you come up with a budget of how much you're willing to spend on it, right? Like I would buy a case. Let's say you're going to spend $2,000 on a case. Spend $2,000 on getting some teams and team breaks. For my strategy is I like to buy them from different breakers that I know. So I like to maybe get 3 breaks if I could, 3 of, I don't know, the Bears. 3 cases of the Bears from one breaker, 3 cases of the Bears and another breaker, 3 cases of the Bears, and target a specific team. Now, that being said, I don't chase stuff. I don't do fillers. I don't do random teams in this system, right? I'm just spreading out a big web, a big net, and I'm focused on that. And I've known other people, I've seen other breakers who've done this, and they did very well because they're capturing all the base cards, the refractors, they're getting autos, they're getting relics. They get one big hit, and it can cover their plan. But the other part of this, right, a budget. So if I have a budget of say $2,000, the other part of that budget is what am I going to do to sell them? Have a plan for selling them, right? Don't be racing to sell. Don't undercut yourself by selling an autograph for less than you have. If again, look at, should I maximize it by grading it? If you can, yes, right? Are there other cards that you should, sell in stars? Like you have to think about what you do, right? Be patient and work out the plan. But I'm going to maybe try that in the future. Just this year, the box prices have gotten so much. You used to buy cases, now you buy boxes. Oh, yeah. When you're buying the breaks, right? I mean, it's just like I remember I did really well on Deshaun Watson years ago. I killed it on Deshaun Watson in some breaks, and I sold those cards at those days' prices, which weren't as high. I also in that year was doing Kareem Hunt, and I have a ton of Kareem Hunt autographs, and I sold off all the damn Patrick Mahomes I hit in the same breaks. Right? Like I remember that like it was yesterday because it was in 2017. I'm like, who the hell is this Patrick Mahomes kid? Yeah, I just sold those right away. Right away. I dual autos. I had the gold number to 10, Spectra, Patrick Mahomes, and Kareem Hunt. I sold that off because I didn't want the Kareem Hunt with Patrick Mahomes on it. I wanted Kareem Hunt only. What a lesson learned.
Yeah, I was about to ask you what were some of your big hits, but it sounds like that was it.
Dude. But I've had some amazing hits. Like in retrospect, probably the biggest hit was hitting a Patrick Mahomes true RPA out of an NT box. Right, that's number to 99, and that was so that year I was with some friends, and we were getting as many Texan and Chief breaks as we could. And if you found a break, you hit the stream and go, anybody want to split this break with me? And everybody's like, pass. And this one woman I remember, her name is Crystal. I still would talk to her on Facebook. I love you, Crystal. She did a 1-box break of NT. I got the Chiefs, and I paid bought them at a PYT. And she pulls the RPA, and I was chasing Kareem Hunt for my PC.
Right. Yeah.
But I got that, and I sold. I think I spent $100, maybe $140 for the break. I sold that card for $1,000 something immediately, like $1,100, $1,200 immediately then, and that was
felt
then.
Good, right? You felt good about the profit.
I felt so good. I tipped Crystal. Like I sent Crystal some extra money. And she's like, well, people don't do this. I said, look, I don't get that big of a hit off this. That was awesome. It really was just I was looking for Kareem Hunt. I get this Patrick Mahomes guy, and I sold that card. I could probably still find the video sometime.
Oh, man. Wow. I don't even know what that card would be worth now.
I don't even want to look it up. I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. I also had a Luka Contenders auto to 25 that I pulled in a break. And I I sold that for like $1,600, right? That I pulled in a break that I probably got for like, it was a 1-box PYT. I think I got under $100 for the PYT, right? And it was a 1-box, and I pulled Luka. I was so ecstatic. It was around Christmas time. And here's the great thing. I see somebody's asking me who are the breakers. I remember each breaker. Like it was like, these are experiences to me. These are moments, dude. This was big breaks basketball. I remember them shouting it out for me. I remember how fun that was. That's what I'm saying. Breaking is addicting because there's more than just the hit. There's the community. You start cheering for other people. They start cheering for you. It's don't do it. Don't start.
Do you think that's part of what's driven the market? I mean, a lot of people are talking about. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yes. In fact, here's what's interesting to me. Being in the hobby, not that I've been there that long, but just since 2015, there are many levels of the hobby community in a different way. There are those people on Facebook and YouTube channels who talk a lot about slabbed and PSA and graded cards. Most of the conversation is around those cards. Most of the conversation is about you acquire that card raw, you grade that card, you sell it, you buy that card in the dip, you hold it, performs a good game, you sell it. There's a whole world right there just around that. But then there's a whole other ecosystem just around breaking, right? That these breaking people, like they don't care about grading at all. I was in breaking. I never graded shit for a long time. I couldn't care. And I've talked to other breakers. We didn't care either. We were just chasing the next big hit. and you weren't really chasing as much to make money. It was just fun, the community. So there's the breaking community itself is a whole new world. Then there's the dealer world, as you learned probably about when you set up your table, man. It's just that's the intricacies of the hobby is amazing. I mean, there's so many different levels.
Are we getting to some questions?
Yeah, this has been good. I really enjoyed it. So what have you liked the most? What's been your biggest card you picked up in the last year?
It probably is Mookie Betts, Bowman Chrome Auto BGS 95.
Nice.
Bought that there were 210 subgrades. So it was about $2,000 for that card. I don't even know what the market value of that card is today. He's been so up and down. I hope he stays healthy going into the playoffs.
Now, is that part of a fan thing? Because you're a fan of the Dodgers, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's the thing. There's so many cards to buy that I can just focus on teams that I like and enjoy the hobby and invest.
Yep.
I don't have to necessarily. I don't own any Lucas that I can think of. Even though that's the card people would go buy when they get back in the hobby. Like, oh, I gotta have a Luka. That's who people are collecting. I did buy a Kevin Durant Topps Chrome. So that's probably a card where I'm not really a Durant fan. It's just somebody came up to the table and was offering to sell it, and we were able to work out a deal on it. So,
and was it raw?
No, PSA 9.
PSA. I think that's cool. Yeah. Again, I understand that, but it's like I said, I prefer buying raw. My favorite thing to do is to try to get boxes and open them with my kids. That's my favorite thing because my kids like opening the boxes. We like doing it, and then I'll snake off the good hits and grade it and sell it, and we'll buy more boxes. That's the ideal situation for me. We used to do breaks, but breaks have just gotten so expensive with my sons. They each want their own damn team. They don't want to share what they get. It's become an ultimate fight.
I thought they weren't really into collecting anymore. Are they?
Well, you're right. They're not. But if they were to do it, they'd each want their own team, and they'd be wanting it for money. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
they're not.
Yeah.
So let me clarify that they are not into collecting. Like each one of them is selling off their damn cards, which kind of irritates me. But I also understand. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand. So in other words, if I did we used to do breaks and they would pick their favorite team and we'd be happy to get that team. Now, if we did it, they'd all would want, LaMelo Ball. They'd all be pissed they didn't get the Hornets. There's not wouldn't be equal. If we made them share the Hornets, then they'd want to sell it immediately.
Yeah.
And here's my favorite part. Let's say they pulled the card in there. And let's say the card's worth $500. They'd be like, Dad, sell the card. You owe each one of us, $175. I'm like, well, great. I haven't even sold the card, but yet I owe you money for this now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how their minds think. They automatically start calculating the value. Like my son got back a PSA 9 on on some card. I don't know what it was. And it's only worth like $250 for my day. He's like, so can you give me my money? I'm like, I haven't sold the card. What do you think? I'm just a bank? I said, yeah. Maybe the card goes up. Maybe the card goes down, So they're very more money focused when it comes to cards now, which I think is sad, but
when you started collecting, you weren't, or like what? How? That's
no,
not at all. Huh?
Not at all. In fact, it's very bizarre, man. Honestly, 2015 really was, and I was gambling, okay, and a friend of mine told me about sports cards, and my kids were doing sports cards, right? They were collecting them, and I was going through a divorce at the time, so my sons were into collecting Prestige and Prism. And hoops, right? And trading them at school. And the big thing was back then was this product called Excalibur, okay, which was a retail product that had patches and autographs. Really cool product, man. And we would drive all over the place trying to get Excalibur. So that's what started it. Then we got into breaking. And for 2016 alone, we were probably in a break every week. We collected everything. I had mail days every week. And we never sold anything until 2017, maybe 2018. I kind of was forced to have to start selling stuff, and it was in a free for all. Then I just started listing stuff on eBay, and stuff was just selling. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that was worth that much. Yeah. So for the first few years, I didn't sell. So I understand those people who I meet who are like, no, I can't sell it. I hoard it. I'm like, yeah, I understand. It's hard. It's hard when you start selling. I don't know, because you have this attachment that you don't want to sell. I can relate to that.
Yeah, no, there's when I was a kid, most of my friends were probably like the hoarder mentality. I mean, they like the cards, they like the sets, collecting the cards, and even though they knew the cards were worth money, they weren't looking to sell it.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, this is part of my collection. And again, for me, I grew up kind of poor, so once I realized these cards were worth money, I had my first set ever was 84 Fleer. And in 86, I was able to sell the
nice.
Mattingly rookie for $20 at a card show. To me, that was a lot of money.
Yeah,
And I had the strawberry and even some of
yeah,
just the stars, Ripken were selling for a few dollars here and there. That's a lot of cash in my pocket as an 11-year-old kid.
yep,
I had
yep.
no idea. And that's, it got me kind of hooked on the monetary side of it. But before that, I just enjoyed the cards. I was we grew up in a baseball family. So to have baseball cards was the coolest thing. So I did have the two experiences where, I enjoy collecting, but then I found out, oh, there's money to be made too. So I like that business side of it as well.
And I think that's good too. Like my kids, I like the fact that they are into it. Like I have two ComC accounts because at one point they each were managing their own ComC account. Now they're seldom into that, right? We had a Starstar account. So what I will say this too is I think right now they're frustrated because we don't get as much product as we used to get. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like in 2000, before 2019, we used to personally buy at least one case of several different products that we'd open at home and we would enjoy and rip and sell or whatever. And that was fun. And then we'd chase retail. 2019, the year of Zion, and I knew Zion year was going to be tough anyway, but that was the first year that we didn't buy cases. Like I remember my son and I think we got 3 hobby boxes. He got one for himself because he wanted to use his own money for it. And he did really well out of that. But that was the first year that we didn't buy a lot of product. And then this last year, like I said, we just haven't been buying a lot of product either. So I think that's been the biggest change, that you can't buy the product you used to buy and enjoy that. So I think that will change. I think that will flip again.
You think it will change because of the market or because of fanatics will? Oh, you think it's because you think?
Well, I think a couple of things. I think in the near term, right, there's way too much product being printed, and there's just not enough people, in my opinion, supporting it. Like I think, for example, I think if you track rookie cards for this year, they will do well. Rookies will come out and they'll hit silvers, and people will go, "Man, that guy's worth a lot of money. We're going to overchase and overpay." But if you look at the past year's classes, they're going to lag. They're not going to be going up as much based on performance, right? Like Luka is at $800. Will he ever hit 2,000 again? I don't think he will, right? I don't think it's a bad thing. I just don't think he's ever going to go that high again, right? I think that whoever the new rookies are this year could hit 1,000, whatever, being a PSA 10, but they'll come back down. And I just think there's going to be there's no reason for Panini and Topps to not print a lot. So they're going to continue to make a lot. They are making a lot. We already know that. I mean, they really are making a lot. I think it was a Bobbles and Ball Card did a great video just breaking down Topps' creation of the complete sets, right? And he estimates there's over 200,000 complete sets being made. And if you just think about that, just that number, and you think about hobby and blasters and everything, there's easily got to be 400,000-500,000 cards of each player made in the Topps flagship, right? So when we look at Prism, you got to assume that Prism probably has a print run around, I don't know, 100, 200, 300,000. I don't know. So I do think that will eventually lead to case prices will come back down. Because I do think that single prices will come back down, right? And I think that's what drove everything up in the first place, which also means another thing I think too is that I think the real value will be in hobby boxes, and retail is will shake too, because in retail you're not really getting. I can't get a real rare relic or a real rare autograph, or an on card something special. That's really preserved for hobby. So I think manufacturers will put more value in hobby. I also think if Panini's smart, right, if they want to preserve their future, they could focus on soccer a lot and do a lot with soccer. Like a National Treasure soccer product could be damn sexy, right? Topps did really well with Bowman in their MLS. So I still think there's a lot of potential there. But I do think the prices will shift. Probably in the next 12 months, I think case prices will come down eventually.
Yeah, and mostly because of overprinting and then just the market. The people aren't going to pay the.
Well, again,
there's going to be plenty of product, right? So they can hold out and then pay less.
Well, I think the biggest impact has really been grading. That grading has really put a clamp on people's ability to have in their theory that I can open a box, I can spend $1,000 on a hobby box because if I pull 5 base cards out of it and I can grade them, I can get my money back, right?
Right.
Well, now that if I can pull 5 baseball cards out and grade them, it's going to cost me another $1,000 in grading fees or more, right?
Yeah.
So now, you see what I'm saying? Now it's cut into their profits. It's like, well, here's what blows my mind. LaMelo Ball, his Prism PSA 10 is still tracking at $700-800 a card.
Yeah. No,
think about that. That's
I know. Yeah.
ridiculous.
It is. Now that I'm kind of more, and probably from watching your content, I became more aware of, hey, this is just a base Prism card. This isn't even, it's not even a silver. It's not an auto. There's so many other nice cards to be had for if you're going to shell out hundreds of dollars for a card, and especially if you start doing into the $1,000.
And that's something to think about too. What do you want 20 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's some really cool refractors of Luka he has that are shinies, right? That are low, that are going to be low print compared to Prism, which is probably the most iconic of his card, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I mean, I think each person their own, but as a collector, there's some cards I'd rather have some that are more obscure that people don't know about, but I don't want to pay a premium to get them either. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to pay a lot of money because it's a low pop count. I'd rather buy into a product that I know is a low pop product and then keep it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I see. And actually, now that you say that, when I got back into it, I realized very quickly that the Zion year, I think that I can't remember if there was who was after Zion. Was it?
That was LaMelo, right?
Oh, okay. So that wasn't out yet. So it was Zion. That was, and then Luka and Trey were the year before that. So those were the 2 years that everybody was buying. But I quickly realized how high the print runs were for those years compared to 2016, 2015, 2014. I caught on to that real fast. I bought a lot of Julius Randle at the start of the NBA season because I'm a Laker fan as well, and he was on the Lakers, and he was having a nice start. Plus, his cards are low, low pop, low print run. So I did kind of focus on those years, bought a lot of Zach LaVine as well. Any stars from those years, I realized, okay, these are more rare inherently than the newer stuff that's coming out right now.
I love that old Prism stuff, man. I really, really do. Like, we used to try to open some of those packs and try to find boxes. Now the stuff's so damn expensive. But you're right. It's funny how, again, I'll tell you, I think I've mentioned this story before. This story was shared to me by the guys at Mojo Breaks, is that in 2015, Panini was getting ready to discontinue Prism. It was a flop product. It was not doing well. Wow. It sucked because it was mainly a sticker auto product. There were no relics at all in the product, right? Collectors didn't like it. They were forcing the channel to buy it. People hated it, right? Mojo Breaks was giving away packs of Prism as their, skunk breaks. When you missed out on a break, they gave you a free pack, right? That's how bad this product was. 2016, man. Ben Simmons hits the NBA #1 pick. Everybody's all Ben Simmons fan. Well, Ben decides not to sign with Panini. He doesn't do any autograph deal with them. Okay, which means the only cards that he's going to have are going to be just rookie cards. Okay, so this is also Prism's 5th year anniversary. So they do this 5th year anniversary set, and they made these very exclusive, printed. They had the backgrounds, say 5 on them, and they emphasize this is Ben Simmons' silver year. It's a silver card, and Ben Simmons in many ways made Prism a valuable set. It was the first card. I remember like people talking about this and blowout and stuff. It was the first card that broke I think a couple $100 in value as a raw card without an autograph or a relic in the modern times, right?
Oh, wow.
It was like, why are people paying this much money for the card? And then when it came back graded, it was breaking $1,000. And it was the first Prism silver. And so there's a story too that people then went out and started buying them all up to hoard them, right?
Okay.
If you look at Ben Simmons, it is a very rare card in the sense he has no autographs in that year. They're only his silver cards, only his color cards. If the guy was really a good player, those cards would have had a lot more value.
Right.
But after that, then you had 2017, which was the LaMelo Ball year, and it was Fultz, and it was Tatum. And that year, in my opinion, dude, it was Ball's dad who made the cards so valuable. That man couldn't keep his mouth shut about how great LaMelo Ball was going to be. Right? They even had cards for his dad.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not kidding. They had cards for his dad. Leaf did a whole bunch of cards for, I forget what his father's name, but whenever his father's autographs. And his hype just drove that class. 18 was a quiet class. People didn't really think much of 18. There was some focus on Trey, but he was too little, No one gave a crap about Luka. Everybody in 2018 was watching Zion play college basketball.
Oh,
I mean, really, that's all we did. We watched, and then when those products started, so it's funny too. In 2019 was the year that Panini just started printing as many college products as you would believe. Like most of those college products did not exist, right? They had Draft Prism, they had NT College, they had Immaculate College. I'm like, they're going to milk the hell out of this Zion train, and they did. And then they went in 2020 with a Melo Ball, which was a crappy rookie year. You had the hype of the pandemic. So like, well, heck, we're going to keep printing. So it's an interesting perspective depending on where you've gotten on the train of the hobby, you know?
Yeah. No, it's been a fun. I mean, I love learning about this. I've never spent so much time learning about the hobby. Even back when I got back in 2008, most of what I did was kind of study prices on eBay, but that was the extent of it. There weren't any YouTube content creators. There weren't really many or any articles to read about what to buy. I think at the time I did know, I knew Topps I wanted Bowman Chrome if I wanted to get baseball. Yep. And I wanted SP Authentic for football and basketball. Those were the two cards to get back in the 2000s. So when I got back in, the first thing I bought was a Cam Newton SP Authentic rookie card because I thought SP Authentic was still the thing to buy.
I know what you're talking about. I think I had that same rookie card. It's a sad card now.
Yeah. I have it.
Think about that real quickly, guys. If you look at Cam Newton's card, I don't know what the value of that card is today, that rookie card. But if you look at his career, he came on, he did very, very well. Very well. MVP season, Super Bowl season, right? Stumbles, has some injuries, falls, gets a spike, gonna die, dropping off. That's a typical NFL player's career. I mean, that's not even typical. I'm sorry, that's not even typical. That's the best case scenario. And that's where most of the card values will end up with those players too. Right, like the people paying money for Herbert, if likely, has a Cam Newton career where he gets one MVP and loses a Super Bowl. His card value will probably be the same, but yet people are spending crazy amounts for it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to think about getting out of the card right before.
Yes.
Yes.
In fact, that's what I'm saying. Here's what I've realized. I love this hobby. It's fun. There's the collecting side, but what it really is, it's about velocity. Okay. And transactions. So look for what's going to sell a lot of. And if you want to make money on it, make money on the momentum, make money on the move, right? Seasonality, people chase certain players, right? Like if you're in a break and you get a wide receiver that's a first rounder, sell the damn wide receiver this year. Sell him now. He's not going to be hotter than he is probably this first week, right? That's another thing too. The breakers that I like to use, I like to get access to the cards quickly, right? I don't want to wait 2 weeks to get the card back because I want to sell now or do something with it. But there's opportunities out there to be made. And that's why I have so many people tell me, oh, don't be hating on this. You can make money on illumination. I'm like, I know you can make money on it. But at the same time, I want to feel good too about the money I make. Like, I don't want to sell a guy a card that I know is going to depreciate badly.
Right.
I don't know. Like one of my biggest sales was I sold Mitch Trubisky's National Treasures RPA, and it was the Stars and Stripes, which were out of the first off the line box. One of my favorite products, man. First off the line, National Treasures, Stars and Stripes football is the sexiest product they make. I got two of those. I got Mitch Trubisky and I think it was Kaiser. So two quarterbacks. I sold Mitch for $2,200, right? $2,200. That card's probably worth nothing now. I still feel a little bad about that. But at the time, that card, and the card spiked even afterwards. I sold it early, and that card was up to like $10,000 at one point. So he could have sold it to somebody else. I mean, but quarterbacks in football, man, is volatility.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got to know what they're getting into, right? I mean, whoever bought it, I'm sure thought Trubisky was going to have a nice career. At least the way I look at it is the guy going to have at least a nice few years? Like when I look at Herbert, I think he'll have, and without not considering injury, but just if he stays healthy, he'll have a nice 2 or 3 years. It looks like to me. I don't think that's
I agree. Which means I think you can make some money off his cards for the next 2 or 3 years, off his rookie cards. But I think, your question, in my opinion, the person who spends $2,000 for a card is doing one of two things. They're either buying it and putting it in on their showcase, like I mentioned, my business partner would do, and he doesn't give a shit about how much money he paid for it. And you're never going to see it again. Or he bought it with the assumption he's going to make money off of it. And that is really what fuels this hobby, is that many of us do buy speculating that, hey, he could be the next this, he could be the next that, and I will sell it at that point. You know what I'm saying? And that's, I don't know, that's just kind of what makes this a fun hobby. Anyway, I don't see many other questions here in the chat. I saw one about breakers. I really don't use any specific breakers right now. And if I told you they were, I wouldn't tell you because I don't want to compete because they're my secret special breakers. You message me, I can give some recommendations to you. I'm buying lots of auction through eBay, IG, Facebook for $30, end up with 5 different team lots and end up with 3 full boxes worth of fresh cards compared to buying 2 single. I don't disagree with you. That's what I'm saying. You get a lot of value for your money in different ways, right? I have friends who will buy lots of cards. Like, I think, are you in any Facebook groups?
I'm in a few Facebook. Yes.
I think Facebook is to me, Facebook is the true lifeblood of this hobby. I know a lot of people are on IG. I know there's a lot of other social media, but the reason I think Facebook is because every store, every breaker has a Facebook presence. And in that Facebook presence, they'll have a community of friends, right? So, and why this is important is if you screw up somewhere in the IG world, you can disappear. No one knows who the hell you are. You create a new account. If you screw up anywhere in the Facebook world, that's going to follow you, right? They're going to know who you are. And it's a tight-knit group. So I recommend Facebook. I recommend it for buying and selling. You can find some of the best deals buying. You can buy in bulk. You can make offers to people. People will be doing like quick, I got to get cash to sell type of things. Like you mentioned, I used to sell too, man. I got to pay the gas this week. I need to sell this card. I don't give a crap what the value is.
I've been looking for more. I mean, I've been looking at more avenues to sell cards other than eBay. I've sold a few on My Slabs just this week. And now I see the PWCC has their own thing. And I know your favorite alt. It's funny. Because of you, I don't even look at alt, but somebody did post their what they're launching, and it looked actually pretty attractive. I was like, if I didn't watch your content, I would have been intrigued by alt. I probably would have been drawn to this.
Somebody was talking about PWC. I just don't understand them at all. Like, I don't know. I mean, to me, PWC was neat in the sense that you could send something in there where they could protect for you, and then they could list it on eBay for you when you wanted to. But I don't see why I'd want to use alt or golden and again, I don't have big enough cards right now that I'm auctioning off to that level. So I don't know.
Yeah, for smaller cards, I think you're right with Facebook groups. I'm also in an HGA Facebook group, and I think because everyone there is getting their cards graded, at least that's an opportunity to sell your graded cards back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Each community you're in, you're going to find has a Facebook group, right? There's an HGA community. Your local card store probably has a Facebook group. Some of them don't like for you to go outside the Facebook groups, right? They have rules like only post here. Some of them are vouch groups. Like I'm in a lot of that are vouch groups only. You have to be vouched in, which are the best groups in my opinion, because I know if I buy or sell there, I'm not worried at all about transactions.
Yeah,
right? There's credibility. People I've been dealing with for like 5-6 years. And there's also Wild West groups, right? Which is basically post it and pray, somebody might buy it. And I mean, there's also, again, I still think Facebook has more policy monitoring than anywhere else. I would always recommend pay with goods and services with PayPal and so like that. Protect yourself as a buyer. Treat people the way you want to be treated. If you ship something to somebody, send them the tracking information. And if you have the time, check with them in a few days. Hey, did you get the package? Did it come as you expected? Is everything cool? That way you don't get that random where the guy posts, hey, man, I bought this and it came messed up. And, there's a lot of things you can do to really build your reputation in the hobby. And it pays dividends, man. It really does. So I recommend Facebook a lot for selling. I use StarStock. I like My Slabs. ComC, I still use ComC a lot. But I use ComC to sell. I don't buy with ComC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was going to say their inventory is huge on ComC. I do like that. But yeah, StarStock is tough to sell, but I think it's great to buy. And I buy a lot of raw, StarStock A cards. I try to find, like I just bought a Stephon Diggs silver StarStock A. There's only one on the site, and the guy was trying to sell it for 200, and I finally got it down to 100. So when I see a card like that, I try to lowball it and then creep up the price, and hopefully they decide to sell.
I said that's again going back to the different layers. In ComC alone, there are different layers of how people use the tool. I use the tool to sell. Okay. I don't buy. I have, and I've noticed what exactly you said. You can lob in half orders. You can get discounts on stuff. Another great thing to check on there, they do portfolio selling. Do you see that where you can buy an entire portfolio?
On
COMC.
COMC? No. I've never used COMC. I've only browsed their inventory, but I didn't actually sign up and put any money in it. So I've never actually
so it's
did any
cool
buying or
because
selling on it.
as a seller, for me, when I use COMC, I'm using it to sell. That's what I want to do.
Mhm.
So when I list stuff, I list it. What's the lowest price? I'll be the lowest price. So I'm a lowest price buyer. If you send me an offer, I'm likely going to accept it. I'm like, and here's what I'll normally do. If I have a card listed for $1.50 and you offer me 75, I'm going to counter at 85 because I'm thinking, are you going to turn me down for a dime?
Yeah.
Like I'm giving you a huge deal anyway. You're going to walk away from an extra dime. So I'll
Right.
play that, but I'm willing to sell. I also you can COMC, you can bundle stuff together, like bundle all your Kobe cards or bundle all your basketball cards and list it as a portfolio and sell it. And that way the person come in and like I sold a portfolio of Kobe cards yesterday for $250, right? That were probably listed and valued around 450, right? And he made me an offer. I'm like, it's fine, accept it. So buyers can do really well on that site if you're strategic on buying, and sellers can do really well selling. So it just depends on what you want to do.
I think that might be my next thing to check out now is the COMC actually.
Well, let me know sometime, man. And we could do a live sometime. I can walk you through how I use COMC. You can show me your COMC. And it's funny. There are a lot of people do some crazy stuff with it. Do you ever watch the Comeback Card Investor, Brad?
Mm-hmm. He was one of the first content creators I watched as well when I got back into it. And he showed his spreadsheet of the cards, his buys and sells and his profit. That actually really got me thinking about the dollars and cents of this. And I was like, and it's honestly, it seemed like he was doing it the hard way because I think he was buying raw cards, then shipping them off to COMC, and took forever to upload them. And it was for very low dollar amounts. And when I was going to get on COMC because of Brad, but then I found StarStock, and I think I got on StarStock right when the market was starting to go up. So it was very easy to just flip on StarStock. It seemed like a much easier process than COMC. I actually reached out to Brad to do a StarStock versus COMC live stream, but he turned me down. I wasn't popular enough yet.
Well, it's funny. I like his. He did great videos back in the day around COMC. I think he was the best COMC videos. I loved how he showed how he'd buy, his thoughts behind it, how he'd research, how he'd set prices. And I learned that, and I'll say that for a while I was doing that, and I was making money too. I'd see trends, and I'd go out and buy cards and reprice them and stuff. Or else another good tip would be like, you see a player make a move, then you go out and buy all the players at a certain tier. Like if they're under $5, buy them all for $5 and then reset the new price at 10, right? So you've now set the new floor at 10. There's so many cool things you can do with it. But I just realized, and I was trying to get my son to use it, and I realized none of us were putting the time into it. We were more or less just using it to sell than we were to buy. I think COMC and StarStock work together because I still like StarStock for a lot of my higher end base cards. Like I sent 50 cards to COMC or to StarStock the other day, and I sent 200 cards to COMC. Right. So I sorted them out and made this whole decision process between which have a better market where,
Yeah. Now StarStock had a problem where they were backed up for a while. You would send them cards and it took them forever to upload. Now it seems like they're caught up.
Yeah.
And I heard there was the same problem with COMC. Is COMC more caught up as well, or are they still backed up?
Here's my experience. So funny with StarStock, I got into StarStock very early because I was watching Jeff's channel, right? So they did their promo last July.
Oh yeah.
I sent, I think, 5,000 cards to StarStock last fall, right? So I pummeled them. In fact, we sent so many cards with my kids. I don't know what we sent. We really don't. We didn't track any of it. We're like, if it's a rookie and it fits these 5 categories, put it in the box. So to be honest, when StarStock hit early on, we had cards showing up that we didn't know what the hell they were. In fact, they made some early mistakes that they had to correct in our account. I assume they're right. We put so much in the beginning, and they processed that fast because I want to think we were one of the first people on the site. And then I didn't process anything since then until probably January, and that was graded cards and Prism, and they processed that in days. So even when they had the backlog, that was fast. My StarStock order just arrived this week. We'll see how long that takes. Now back to COMC. COMC we submitted last year in the summer. We did a video on it, and I want to say it took, and we did it at the cheapest level. It took probably easily 6 months before those were processed. Like,
Wow.
I don't think they were processed until January, February of 2021. Okay. Now, I
Okay.
just submitted I took a whole bunch of those Kobe anthology cards. I don't know if you know what those were. In 2012, they made this whole set of anthology Kobe cards. They're paper cards. I sent in like 250 of those to StarStock. I'm sorry, to ComC at 50 cents a card. So it was about 100 some bucks to process. They actually processed them all within a month, which
Oh,
was
okay.
shocking. Like, they even predicted it would be done by November, is what they came up and told me. But they got them done within I think the month of August, they were all done. And then I flipped them into a portfolio and sold them all off.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
They have,
Okay.
I guess it just depends. Like with that order for ComC, it was all the same brand of cards. So it might have been easy for one guy to sit there and just get them all processed. I just submitted another order for 200 cards. We'll see how that goes, because that's a bunch of random different cards in that one. That could take longer to process. So
Yeah. Just another question for you. Are you skeptical about the StarStock A card? The fact that, I mean, if you think about it, they have 1,000,005 cards in their vault or wherever in their warehouse, and they got to pre-grade each one of these cards. How accurate do you think those A quality cards are?
Yeah, it definitely is a concern. It's an issue. But I will say this: look, ComC does a similar thing. If you look at ComC, they'll actually have some grading notes on them as well.
Oh,
But they
I didn't
don't
realize
give
that.
they
Okay.
don't give a grade. You have to look at them. They'll say notes on there like worn corner, white edges. Not all the time, but ComC does put some of those notes. I think ComC is terrible. I love ComC, but they're terribly managed because they should be crushing StarStock. There's nothing StarStock does better than them, right?
Interesting.
To
Okay.
go back
Yeah.
to StarStock, I was bullish of StarStock when they did the StarStock A's and they were sorting it, because to me, I was thinking this is a great way to pre-scan. Instead of sending them to a grader who can charge you $1 or $2 to tell you what to do, I sent them to StarStock. At the time it was free. They were going to tell me which ones to grade, and then the B's and C's I thought I could sell. Now, my thoughts now are, I don't like the fact that if you send them to them and they graded an A, that's great. It doesn't guarantee a PSA 9 or 10. In fact, it's more likely going to be a PSA 9 the way things are going with PSA, right? It's not going to be a 10. You're probably going to get an 8 or 9. If it gets graded a B or a C, you're screwed. And what I mean by that, let's say I have 3 cards in my hand that I look at and I go, man, these are all StarStock A's to me. And I submit them to StarStock, and they put 2 of them as A's and one of them they tell me is a B. And I go, damn, it's not a B. Send that card back to me. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to go pick one out of the bucket and say, here's a B. It's not the card I sent them. It's the one they're going to send me that's a B, right? Which also makes me think, too, if I have a pile of StarStock A's and a customer says, I want you to ship it back to me, well, am I going to ship you one of the better A's, or am I going to ship you one of the worse A's?
I was worried about that, too.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So those, and I know that's a skeptic of me, but we all agree that, hey, there's a difference between PSA 10 and PSA 10, right? There's a difference in eye appeal and stuff. So the same thing's there. So it concerns me with StarStock about that. Like, a real easy thing I could say is that you could easily go on StarStock A or StarStock, buy B's and C's of hot players, bring them back home and sell them raw at card shows and on eBay. And you would make more money than you would off of selling them as B's on StarStock, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Like, I don't know why anybody would buy or sell a StarStock B. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know why anybody would sell a StarStock B unless you're just dumping it. You know what I'm saying? Because you know you're leaving money on the table. And I've dumped some B's. Don't get me wrong. I've definitely dumped some B's. I'm like, I don't want the damn card.
I probably bought them. I mean, because I did buy a bunch and had to have them shipped back home. Not even my own B's, but other B's of, I think, like DeAndre Hunter or Cam Reddish, players that are popular players, but they were injured. You know, they're on the Hawks. They're still kind of popular.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'll buy their B cards for $1, $1 each.
Fact,
and
I think there might be a play in buying them, like buying them for cheap like that, like Cam Reddish. I don't know what he's going for, StarStock C or whatever. Buying it dirt cheap, and then getting it graded with a custom grader with a custom color slab to it too. You know what I'm saying? That matches his jersey or something like that, and do it to 20 of them, and then selling those off. You know what I'm saying? That I think you do well with that.
That's interesting. That's an interesting idea. Yeah.
So there's definitely, like I said, there's that's the thing, dude. There's ways to make money in this hobby. There's lots of ways to make money in the hobby. Let me see if there's any questions. Do you know the price spike on Mac Jones will go back down, or do you think you'll buy now? I don't. So here's answer your question. What I like about Mac Jones is that means the average price of breaks will go down. Mac Jones prices will go up unless he really is crappy player, terrible player. Okay, and even then they'll give him a year. His prices will continue to go up every time he wins. But none of his good products are out yet. I think Flipping Steve said this the other day. There's nothing good out of his that I want to own right now. What's nice though is that when a break happens or when you go out to get his product, there's 5 other quarterbacks there. I really think breaking is the best way to go this year with products, unless you can buy a case. I just think because again, if I look at a case, I can't afford a case. I don't want to buy just one box and buy the wrong damn box, right? So I'd rather buy that entire team in that case. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I really think that's a better move for me. And I think with the fact there's 5 good quarterbacks, it doesn't have to be go after Lawrence. Lawrence is probably going to be the most expensive. The Patriots might be the most expensive because not only do you get Patriots with the Mac Jones, you get Patriot vets, right? So there's a lot of vets and Patriots that people like to collect. It's a valuable team. Jacksonville, you're only going for Lawrence, right? Bears, the same thing, right? If you go for Bears, you get a lot of Bear vets. Anyway, I'm just talking too much about breaks.
Right. Yeah.
This has been great, man. This has really been good. We've gone a lot longer than I normally go. These damn shows, I just can't keep them. I can't keep them under 30 minutes. Great to hear you, man. That's great to Brett, to have you on, man. Yeah. Listen, dude, I would love to have you on again. Don't make this a one-time thing. I'm like, I would love I'm gonna, I appreciate you coming on the show. I want to have a live guest every night so we can keep some conversations going, talk about what's going on. I know there's gonna be nights that people can't come in, so keep bugging me. If you know of other people who want to get on, let me know. If you're doing something, let me know. I'd be happy to help collaborate. Help this, share that, whatever it is, man. I really, really want to help, get the hobby, and I really appreciate your support.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm glad you had me on. This was a lot of fun.
It was, man. It really was. Honestly, I'm exhausted. It's past midnight. But I'm going to let you go. Thank you again, guys. Everybody in the chat, thank you guys for listening. Appreciate you being here. I will be back live tomorrow night, Friday night, to finish out the week. I think I have a guest already confirmed, and then I got a special guest on another California guest on Sunday night. So I'm super excited about that, man. Yeah. Loco, I'm going to kill the stream. I don't really go back to the chat room or whatever. I'm just going to end it. And thank you very much, man, for being on. Stay in touch. If you need anything, man, reach out. Let me know how I can help. And like I said, I look forward to having you back on. This has been fun.
All right.
Let's see, end right there.